You're watching Studio J, the best of Jefferson Multimedia, a production of Jefferson Middle School and the Fort Wayne Community Schools. Hello, Jefferson. The lesson for today is on camera composition. Most of us, when we take pictures, we like to shoot straight at the subject, like what you see right here. It's the courthouse in DeKalb County. I've taken a straight-on shot. It's a really pretty building, and it's a nice picture. You've got plenty of blue sky up here at the top. But when you shoot things from straight on, looking right at it, it's kind of flat. I want to show you how I can make this picture pop a little bit more, just by shooting from the side of the courthouse. I like this image better. We see not just the front of the building, but the side as well. Anytime you see two sides of something, it makes it more three-dimensional. I also like the depth that's added by this tree in the front. Makes the picture seem a little deeper, a little bit more 3D, a little bit more alive. There's a little popcorn stand downtown, and every time I see it, it's just so adorable. It's so incredibly small town. I wanted to take a picture of the sign. This is a good one because we have a nice exposure over the sign. We can read it. We can see what's going on. But I took the same picture from another angle, and I like it a lot better. Let's take a look at it, and I'll tell you why. As you look at the second image, we still have a very legible sign. But I like how the darkness, how the shadows under the sign make it pop a little bit more. It draws your eyes to the light part of the screen. Sometimes you can use contrast in your photos to tell the audience, no, don't look here, look up there. Shooting the same thing from 2 or 3 different directions can often give you several different pictures to choose from. Let me show you another one that I really like. There's a hotel in downtown Auburn that has this great neon sign. It looks like something out of the 1940s. It's a really neat sign and some really cool concrete work on the front of the building. Let me show you what I mean. The Auburn Hotel. I like this picture because you can see in the lettering how it's weathered and old, and it has that really rough texture kind of look. There's color variations. There's lots of lines. It's on a Dutch tilt. It's a really engaging picture. But I walked around downtown, took a few pictures, and then I came back and shot the front of this building again. I like the second one even better. Let's look at it and I'll tell you why. Same sign from a different angle. We still have that really rough, weathered look through the middle of the sign. But I like the darkness that's added by this triangle of the overhang and the bricks here, the bricks here, and you can also see the very edge of the sign I just showed you. Also, the brightness of what's going on back here sucks you into the darkness here. There's more contrast. I like this picture better than the first one. This one I like for the color, but I have to make a confession. It's a filter. Once you load things into Photos, if you click on Edit, check your filters out. I've got this one set on Chrome. The original photo looks like this. It's a little darker, but as you scroll through the different filters, you know, here you have black and white. Here there's a little bit more. Here you have black and white, high contrast. Black and white, not so much contrast, so the darks aren't quite so dark. Really, really dark black and white. This one's called Fade. This one's called Chrome. This is the one I chose. Why did I choose it? Because it makes the purples and the reds pop. Look at each one and see which one you like better. That's nice too, but I think I like that one, yeah, a little better because it gives us more color on the purple. So many choices when you put this stuff together. One more example of how shooting something straight on can make it kind of boring. There's a little newspaper downtown, the Evening Star, established 1871. It feels all historical and stuff. So I took this straight on shot of their little plaque right in front of their building. It's okay, it's decent. I love the texture that the shadows coming through the trees cast on the sign. But I like the next one a little bit better. I'll show you why. This one has a little bit more of a Dutch tilt to it, and there's more sunshine on it. It's easier to read than the last picture we looked at. So everything's a little different. Play around with it. Take a ton of photos. Pick the ones you like the best and use those for your projects. Can you stick a school administrator to the wall with duct tape? We're about to find out. Here's a short video called Circling on the Wall.
There were 3 big winners. None of the tickets were sold in Indiana. There were, however, 3 tickets sold in Fort Wayne worth $50,000 each. I have not checked my tickets yet. If I'm one of those winners, I will not be here tomorrow.
So, do you think it's gonna hold? Yes. Yeah? What do you guys think?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? We're gonna find out.
All right, 6th grade. 3, 2, 1. Oh, he's staying on the wall. All right. A little applause for Mr. Serkin, please. All right.
Not so comfortable now, is it? Yeah.
He fell off. Oh, there you go. You walk around a little bit.
Hey, you gotta walk around the whole day like
Get
that.
this twat to do a tape back to me.
Jefferson students are required to write stories of mystery and suspense for their English class, and we liked this one so much we also made it an audiobook for media class as well. Here is Plain and Simple, written by Nolan Bullman.
Are you sure about this, guys? This is against the law. This counts for trespassing on so many levels.
Quit worrying too much. What's wrong? You scared?
Would you knock it off already?
Everyone just needs to calm down until we get to the school.
Why are we doing this again?
Are you that ignorant? We're doing this because it's the 5-month anniversary of Skylar's death, and they still haven't found the killer to this day.
What they forgot, though, is that it is 1975, and there's a murder on the loose.
Let's hurry up.
They finally reached the school just as it began to drizzle rain. The building they reached was an abandoned school that goes by the name Mrs. Goodman's High School for Girls and Boys. Their plan was to spend the entire night in the school. They entered the decaying building through a shattered window into the main hallway. They decided to sleep in the principal's office. About 20 minutes or so after they settled down, they started hearing sounds like stomping, but they were oh so faint that you could barely hear it.
I'll go see what that was.
Alex said, and off he went into the pit of darkness. Suddenly, after he left, the sound began to get louder and louder and louder than before.
What is that sound?
I think we should all go see what it was.
We can cover more ground if we split up. Kyle, Grace, and Julian go right. Juana, Eric, and I will go left.
Grace, Kyle, and Julian searched almost everywhere, when all of a sudden, a banging was rapidly getting louder and louder with every thump, almost directly in front of them. And when they turned around, it was Juana and Eric sprinting towards the trio.
He killed Meredith,
Panted Eric, trying to believe what he just saw.
Who's he?
Julian gasps and falls to the ground, dead as a doornail from a knife to the back. After Julian collapses, a figure with black clothing and a blood-stained butcher knife in his right hand is seen. "Get out!" he shrieked, but he wasn't talking about them. He was talking about their souls, so he was going to murder them. Then he chucked the knife at Eric, striking him in the neck. At this point, Grace, Kyle, and Juana bolted in the other direction, and while this is happening, Eric is gasping for his last breath while slowly plopping to the ground, staring into nothing but lonely, an unforgettable darkness. Luckily, the man in black went to retrieve his knife, which gave the remaining three a head start that meant nothing to Grace, who tripped over a piece of the floor that was sticking up. She sat up, but was laid to rest when the man in black got to her. Kyle and Juana made it to the top of the staircase when Kyle had dark thoughts that would benefit him.
I'm sorry, Juana.
Kyle said, with despair in his voice.
What do you mean?
Juana said, perturbed, and in an instant, Kyle forced Juana back down the stairs, snapping her neck on the way down. Now the man in black was on his way up the stairs, and Kyle started darting from the horror, but ran straight into a wall, accepting defeat. Kyle knew he will die, because the man in black is staring down at him, the victor.
Who are you?
Kyle asked with great intention.
Turn on your flashlight.
The masked murderer replied. Right after he flipped the switch on, Kyle began to whimper in disappointment.
Why'd you do it, Alex?
You guys are the reason Skylar's dead.
Alex replied, becoming more furious with every painful thought about Skylar.
He was my best friend, and all you had to do was say, "Look out, Skylar," but you were too busy talking to Eric, and Skylar was the one who got hit by that school bus. That's why I chose to remember him here this month, because now was the perfect time.
Now Kyle was starting to get ignited with fury.
You're sick in the head. You're insane.
Alex then began to chuckle in a way that would make you very uncomfortable.
You've got it all wrong, Kyle. I'm not insane. I'm death. Plain and simple. Goodbye, Kyle.
Jefferson students create scripts based off of their favorite songs. So here's one inspired by I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. This was produced by 3 6th grade girls, and it's entitled Because of Her, I Breathe.
Because of Her, I Breathe. Inspired by I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. Written by Faith, Ashley, and Drew. Why did you do that? I was happy here in Florida. Away from you. Me, my fiance, and our daughter. Well, your daughter. I remember the look in your eyes when you broke in our house. And you set eyes on your child. The one you never knew you had. It was the first time I saw any sense in your eyes. Like you actually knew what was going on. What were you doing? Thank God it gave me enough time to break free from your grasp. I could feel your pulse when you enclosed your hands around my arm. It slowed when you saw her, when you saw our daughter, Maria. I'm here on a plane with her, and no thanks to you, I am alone. Thanks go instead to your harsh, cold heart. But it seemed to be warmer when you saw her face. I remember hearing him scream, and him holding my hand when he told me to run. From you. I hope you're in jail now. Yet, I don't. Both at the same time. For everyone's sake. And I pray you stay there, even though I want you by my side. I remember when you came, the night you proposed. I remember the blinding lights in our front yard. I remember asking you why. You looked at me with those soft eyes. The ones that used to pierce my heart, as you said. I can't help falling in love with you. And then they slapped on those handcuffs. It was the last time you had ever set free the butterflies that were enclosed in my stomach. Never again do I want to see you, but I love it when I do. And now I am alone. A dead fiance, and with that, a dead heart. Dead emotion, dead soul. I might as well be dead. But if it weren't for this child that is mine, not yours, I would be. I will do anything in my power to keep her safe. Would you do that? I love her. I love her more than I have ever loved anyone. After all, she will forever be mine. I know she will be a handful, yet I will forever be joyful because of her I breathe. I understand you once loved me. I do. I know you couldn't help it, about that love you once had for me, it has turned into hate. I saw the hate for me in your eyes. And for that reason, and that reason only, I screamed. I could not help it. But when I saw the look in your eyes when you laid them on your daughter, I saw that you loved her just as much as you did me once. I had seen the monster you had become. So I hope this gets to you in jail. And this is a warning. I'm coming for you to bust you out because I can't help falling in love with you.
We usually write short stories and turn them into videos, but in this case we have one student who is writing a novel. Here is a chapter from a book by Rhiannon Cox called Sinner.
I don't even realize the scream is my own. I run across a large field, falling to my knees next to a large gray wolf. Daddy! Its orange eyes open slowly, looking up at me. I run my fingers over the soft fur along his muzzle. Daddy, come on! It's time to go home! He breathes out deeply, licking my hand that rests on the ground beside him. He heaves out again, and I think he's about to get up, but instead his eyes fall blank, the light in them fading. They close slightly. Daddy, wake up! We have to go home! I cry, tugging on his ear, convincing myself he's just asleep. I look around the field. The gunshots are now gone, along with the people who'd made them. Blood spots the fresh green grass, wolves strewn out over the field like children's toys, all quiet and unmoving. How many of these wolves had been human as well? How many were husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, children?
Riley.
I turn to see my mother, tears staining her face, but her eyes are cold, almost angry.
Let's go.
No, I won't leave him. I grip the fur on my father's neck, his body now cold.
Riley, wake up.
My mother shouts, only it isn't her voice. I cock my head to one side, confused.
Riley!
I open my eyes, sweat dripping down my forehead. Chris's hands are on my shoulders, shaking me awake. I sit up, resting my head on his. He intertwines his fingers with mine, brushing a tear away with his thumb.
You okay?
I stare at the covers, my mind spinning. I slide out of bed, trying to comprehend what I just saw.
Babe, did you have another bad dream?
Yes, well, no. It wasn't a dream. I think it was a memory.
Riley, you aren't making any sense.
He reaches out for my hand, but I pull away. I turn towards him. These dreams, they aren't just dreams, Christian. They're memories. Memories my mother tried to hide from me. Memories she tried to erase. Only, she didn't erase them, just muted them. And now they're coming back.
So, what are you saying?
This hunt. These hunters that are after us. It's all happened before. Only last time they didn't get what they wanted.
And exactly what is it they want?
He walks closer to me now, and I look up at him. I don't know, but we have to find out before they get it. After reaching Autumn's house later that day, I go over what happened, with the hunt in my dreams, but none of us are any closer to finding out what it is they're after.
I just don't get it. Why are they targeting us? What is it we have?
I'll tell you what they want.
Tony walks into the living room, tossing up a pocket knife and catching it over and over.
Well, I was with them.
What do you mean you were with them?
Before I stumbled across you guys, I'd been to the warehouse. They captured me. They ran all these tests. I don't think I was the only wolf there. The place stunk of wolf, and I often heard howls. But only until they'd come to shut us up. Rarely they'd let us stay human for long.
Tony, who are they?
Sorry, I can't help you there.
Tony pushes off the wall he was leaning on, flicking the knife closed and shoving it in his jean pocket.
They either had some sort of medical mask, or it was too dark to see.
Oh, well, we can just sit around and wait.
Ryan mutters from the couch. Tony shoots him a dirty look.
And we won't. Tony, you said you knew what they wanted.
Somewhat.
Well, what do they want?
Becca asks, arms crossed over her chest. Tony turns towards her, his eyes dark, serious.
Answers.
This is Studio J, the best of Jefferson Middle School multimedia in the Fort Wayne Community Schools.
I had just got out of my car when my best friend Kaylee walked up to me. "Did you see the school newspaper today?" She handed me a copy. The headlines read, "Lowest grades in school?" It showed a picture of me holding my report. It was obviously sent in by my grandma. She must have sent in an email with the picture attached. I threw the paper at Kaylee and raced into school. Everyone that had read the paper stared at me as I ran by. I rushed to get my stuff ready for first period. As I closed my locker, the older kids walking by cursing. Why don't they get in trouble? I thought. There he was, right as I sat down. "Say, you gonna go to sleep?" Craig said. "Will you just go away for once? I'm not in the mood today," I replied coolly. "Not in the mood to do your work?" He snickered. As he walked away, the announcements came on. Good morning, hunters. I ignored the rest. After that, the teacher put out the PSL, Prepare Student Learning, and went off talking about area and square roots. I remembered about half of it. Then she handed out tests. I made sure I answered correctly. I didn't want to be embarrassed by my grandmother again. I turned in my test at the end of the period. It took me a while because I spent all of my time checking answers. The bell rang. Hurry to second period. You better not be late, the teacher said as we left. I switched out my books for a second. Everyone in second was going to hate on me. I hope Katie won't annoy me over it. She might no longer be friends with me, leaving me with none. Oh, this bitter world.
Sometimes our best art comes out of real life. Here is a poem written by Rhiannon Cox for her brother Noah. It's entitled Remain.
You should remain. Your smile, your laugh, your voice, now forever a vague fragment of my imagination and memory. Nothing is fair and yielding in the world. Your hand should not be cold. Your fingers should grip mine, so full of life, so full of warmth. But they are just as lifeless as the empty picture frames filling my mind, the halls. Think of the good times, they say. But how when the good times are no more? How can I think of you alive and well when you are the opposite? My family is splintering glass, my heart the human equivalent of shattered. For you are gone, the giver of smiles, of laughs, of memories, of happiness. So where am I to turn now that your room is silent and your bed is cold? For there is nowhere to run when time hunts you down and breaks what little remains. You should remain. The clock ticks down like a heartbeat. Tick, 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 thump, 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 beating my head to the ground. And I just want the sound to stop, like yours has. But it just keeps sounding like a drum. The Lord, if there is one, has no mercy. Unforgiving this world has become. And I know this all too well. So when people ask, are you okay? What else am I to say but, yeah, I'm fine. And when people see me sitting alone or even with friends, laughing and smiling, they don't dare ask the question on everyone's mind, for there is no okay in my world anymore. And now that you're gone, there is no joy in my smiles. Just a mask I'm forced to hide behind because the truth hurts too much to see. You should remain. So what now? Where do I run when time is my enemy and darkness becomes my ally? I succumb to the shadows and hide from the light. But what else am I supposed to do? I scream this over and over in my mind, giving myself an excuse for my behavior when there is no explanation, no reason. So my question is this: what do you want me to do now? Now that you've been unrightfully torn from this earth, from my grip, now that they have destroyed what was so young and innocent, what was the face of purity at its finest, what was the voice of joy to those who listened. So again I ask myself, day and night, as I look at your lifeless photographs, what do you want me to do now? Because I do not know the answer, and maybe I don't want to. You should remain. And now new life brings joy, or at least it should, but instead it brings the sweetest of sorrows, of what could have been, what should have been. They all say, he's watching from the stars, but you should be here, but you aren't, and it's so hard to let you go. He's always with you in your heart, but you should be here, but you aren't. At least not today you aren't. And this is the realization I must come to. But if there's one thing I do know, it's this. I love you, forever and always. And for eternity you shall live. Noah Lee Cox, July 19th of 2009 through January 29th of 2016. You will remain.
You're watching Studio J, a production of Jefferson Middle School Multimedia of the Fort Wayne Community Schools.